if I have an idea that I want to pursue, like a new model that I'm working on, or even just a technique, for instance, the lattice bracing that I've been working with now. Now, a lot of other people have been working with this for a long time. I'm just now coming into it. I've got my own take on it. If I had to make every single one of these instruments all by myself, it would take so long to get the bugs worked out. It would take years because there's only so many hours in the day. And as it is, I can do what I consider the stuff I really need to know, like where my hands really need to be, and get a feel for everything, then bring it to a certain point and hand it to somebody else and say, here, please bind this, or put the frets in it, and we move through. So instead of it taking 2 years to make 20 instruments, maybe we can do it in 3 months. And that's the only way that you learn really what a model or a design or an evolution in design is going to do. You never learn it from just making one guitar. No way. You get clues, but it takes 5 to 10 instruments for any change to become integrated, in my experience. And so the sooner that you can get through those 5 to 10 instruments, the sooner you'll understand what you've done. Because many times it's just like in music, you know, you're out in the fog when you're doing your best work, and you don't realize what you've done until, you know, it's kind of become old hat or comfortable, until you become comfortable with it. It's when you're uncomfortable that you're more likely to do something really interesting.
Do you have any suggestions for players who are getting a new instrument? How should they try it out?
I don't know. When people come here to try out my guitars, there's only my guitars. I don't have anything else, any other brands or other people's instruments. So I kind of get a mixed feeling from it. I find that the best way is when you play, it's kind of like falling in love. You just do it. You just feel it. And when you're trying an instrument, it's interesting. Your first impressions are very important. And I watch people trying things out, and sometimes they'll try them. I think, man, you're not doing what I would do. I mean, I just start playing. That's, if I want to know about an instrument, I just start playing it. I don't go through every note and say, this one is, you know, louder, this one's softer. I never do that. Sometimes I have to because, you know, somebody else is doing it. So I listen to that stuff when they're doing it. But that is not what's important to me. It's the feeling, it's the flow, it's the ease of the sound coming out of the instrument. It's the smell. I mean, that counts. So then it really is a matter of nice bonding. I think that's what it's about. But one of the things that I think a lot of people get confused by is the sort of the ideal versus what's real, what's practical. Most guitars are never played on stage. Most players never go on a stage bigger than their local coffee house, or maybe even just playing for their relatives on Thanksgiving. You know, most people's playing time is spent at home, alone, and whether, you know, it's just a fact of life. And so then somebody, you know, but somebody wants the player that their hero, the instrument that their hero player wants or has. And that's great if you can pull it off, but there needs, I think, when somebody is looking for a guitar, figure out what you really need, not just what you dream about. I mean, that's part of what you need, because a guitar is part of fulfilling dreams. I know that's true. It is for me. Every guitar that I build, it is for me. And I know that when somebody buys it, it is. So it's just, be sure that you're getting a guitar for what you need, not just because somebody else has one or something like that. When I see, one of the reasons, I go to quite a few festivals. I did this summer, a lot of guitar festivals, big ones, small ones, NAMM show, you know, the GFA, and other ones, you know, San Luis Obispo, Nevada, we went to Reno, a lot of Frankfurt. But it's amazing to watch people try guitars. And this is something that's really, I guess, a valuable feedback for me um, as a guitar maker, because I'll sit down and play it and have a few little things that I just do, to get a feel for it. But I'll watch people, somebody will come up and they really will just sit there and start playing each note. They haven't even played a song tune yet, but they'll play each note. Others will just like strum it across on the on the guitar stand, just strum it with their thumb and go, wow. And that's it. And they're starting to make a decision based on that. Other people will play really hard. Other people just barely making any sound come out. And you realize that the guitar, once it leaves my showroom, is being subjected to all kinds of different evaluations. And there's no way that I can please everybody, but it's interesting to see the ears and the eyes and the hands working for a person to bond or not with an instrument.